is Megan, and welcome to my Flosstube channel, The Gem Stitchery. Today is Wednesday, July 17th, and it is my last day in an 8-day stretch off of work before I go back tomorrow to work 6 out of the next 7 days. So, gotta pay for the 8 days off. But I am here with a regular Flosstube update. I have some finishes, some WIPS, some new starts, some sewing, some quilting, some bag making. So let's jump into it. I'm going to start with my finishes since the last time. Well, some of them, not all of them. Some of them were for swaps that I did, so I've already sent those out, and I'm not going to show pictures or anything. But the finishes that I do have, I'll show you. So first up, I'm trying to do 12 Christmas ornaments in 2024. There's a hashtag, I'll put it here. I'm not doing so good right now, but I'm working on it, so I'll have more than I had last year, which was none. This first one is called Christmas Joy by Jan Fate of Angel Stitchin'. I got this in the Just Cross Stitch Christmas DVD. So this is from the 2006 issue of that magazine, if you have the magazine. It's only part of the chart because I stitched it on 28 count and it ended up being a little bigger than I wanted for an ornament, and I just pulled my own colors because it's an ornament, so it doesn't really matter. But here it is. It says Joy. In the design, here I have a little picture. In the design, there's supposed to be this stripe over here with navy and then white for stars, but that just would have made it way too wide for my taste, so I eliminated that and just stitched the Joy. And I'm getting a lot better about signing my work, so I don't know if you can see down here, but I put my initials and the year. So I just gotta FFO it, and that's a whole nother thing. Okay, next up, I stitched the Imprints, Berries, and Blooms by Heart and Hand. And these are so quick and simple. I wanted to pull some of my own flosses. I had some random scrap of fabric. I think this is a 32 count, but here's the first one. The berries. So I just pulled some fun fabrics, some fun flosses. And down here in the word berry, I don't know how well you can tell, but she had a lot of, it was just the font that she used or designed, but she had a lot of these little like dots all over, and my floss, it was fairly light, so you couldn't really see the dots, so I just decided to eliminate those. So I stitched wherever there were little holes, I stitched the holes and just left the word berries as open stitching. And then the other one was the bloom portion of it. So for this, I just pulled the Very Happy Variegated Yellow, and then I used the same blue-gray that I used for the berry. So very cute, very simple. Not quite sure how I'm going to finish them. I mean, odds are like 99% chance I'll finish them as pillows, but you know, sometimes people will put fabric on the bottom or fabric on the side to kind of make it bigger. So I'll probably do something like that just because they are very, very tiny. Okay, next up is a festive 4th of July stitch. So this was Lizzie Kate Yankee Doodles. And I did, let's see, this one right here. And this one I stitched on this piece of light blue 28 count I had in my stash, but it's a very wide weave and it's very stiff. And I bought a lot of it. I want to say I bought a piece that was like 9 inches by like 30 inches because I was going to do the series on it, but that was a while ago. I purchased it, never started it. And now it's just definitely not a fabric I enjoy stitching, so I'm using it in little pieces at a time, and I figured this was a perfect time to use up some of it. So let me just grab some fabric here. Okay, so here it is. It's adorable and I love it. And I used some kind of specialty floss up here. I don't know if you can tell, it's shiny. I really love it. I was nervous because I've always heard people say any kind of metallic thread is really, really difficult to stitch with, but it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. And I did this 1/1 on 28 count. So, it's so cute. It's so cute. And I do plan on doing, oh, I'm actually, this Yankee Doodle dandy hat is one of my WIPs. So I'll pull that out in a second. Okay, my next finish was Hoop-de-Doo Peppermint Christmas by Sue Hillis Designs. And in terms of my Christmas decor, I'm very much like a traditional classic, like reds, greens, golds, navies, like those kinds of colors. But my oldest daughter loves pink, and I just thought this was too precious. And so I stitched this for my girls, either their bedroom or their playroom. And I'm gonna finish it exactly like she did. Obviously not with the same fabric around the hoop, but some kind of pink fabric wrapped around the hoop, and then just the hoop finish, because I made sure to buy a fabric that would fit in a 6-inch hoop. Now, this is 30 count blush. I'm not sure who the dyer is, possibly Weeks, because I want to say they do like the funky counts, like 30 and 35. And I'm not sure how well the pink is going to show up, the pink of the fabric. Ooh, that's definitely not as pink it is. It looks really white here, but it's definitely like a cotton candy pink fabric. But anyway, it looks so good. I love it. Love, love, love it. And I cannot wait to get this finished. Let's see. That's more true to the color, but still not quite as bright as it is in person. But it's precious. I love it. And I've definitely looked into more of the Sue Hillis Hoop-de-Doos. She's got some very, very cute ones that are on my wish list. So can't wait to finish that. And then I have one other finish here. And this one is actually my own design. I designed it a while ago. Eventually, I'll get it up in my Etsy shop. But it's called Strawberry Sampler. And I stitched this on 32 count Dirty Floor by Laura's Fabrics. And here it is. So I used a whole smattering of different threads, different thread dyers, but it's all pinks and greens and a couple of DMC. So these little bitty flowers here and here, it's just a few stitches each, and so those are DMC, but most of the rest of this is some kind of fancy floss. I still need to finish it. I'm thinking some kind of white frame, maybe like this. Unless you have any other ideas, I'm definitely open to ideas. I've FFO'd very few of my stitching pieces or my stitched pieces, so my repertoire and experience is quite limited. But if you have any other ideas, you think this might look good as a flat fold, or you know a certain piece from Hobby Lobby that it would look great on, whatever, let me know in the comments. But there's my strawberry sampler. Okay, that's all for my finished pieces, so let's move into WIPs. So my first WIP I'll show you is the Yankee Doodle from the Lizzie Kate chart. Ooh, got a thread or a needle. Okay, this one I'm doing, what am I doing this? 1/2 on some type of, I don't know. Y'all know I'm so bad at like keeping track of the threads. I believe it's 36 count. And I'm quite happy with the coverage. I'm not going to do the Yankee Doodle dandy down the side. One, there's not enough room, but two, this is I wanted this as some kind of like patriotic small finish, so whether it's a pillow or a stand-up or on a little block from Michael's or something. But if I did the Yankee Doodle Dandy, it would be too big for my liking for a small. So I'm just doing just the hat. So I've been bringing this to work, and because it's so easy, like it's such a simple design, I don't have to have my pattern out. So it's great to just have I'll have a couple needles already threaded, and I just, you know, fill in the stripe or work on the navy. And I've done all the white. I did all my white stitching first. So now it's just a red stripe here, a red stripe here, and then fill the navy in. So I'll do like a red thread and then move on to navy, and then a red thread and then navy. So it's not too monotonous, but it's getting done. Obviously will not be FFO'd for this season, but that's fine. Okay, next up is Black and Jack, a teeny cross stitch chart by Teresa Kogut. Let's see if I know what I'm stitching this on. Haha, 32 count lamb's wool Jobelin. Are you impressed? I'm impressed. Let's see, let me grab my threads real quick. Okay, I love pulling my own thread and floss. I like never ever ever use what was called for. So these are the threads, and this is the fabric. Obviously it's a little blown out. It's more true to color. But we're using molasses by Weeks, sweet potato, persimmon, and daylily. And then this is what it looks like so far. It's actually bigger than I thought it would be. So I've outlined the cat, and then I outlined part of the pumpkin, and I was bringing this to work as well. So that's why I chose to do a lot of the outlining, because especially the cat now is like all fill in. I was gonna do his eyes at home and then fill in the rest of it at work. But I haven't brought this one to work in a while. So, and this one is in a bag I made. Not a project bag, but a zipper bag I had. So I was a pattern tester for this quilt designer, and we just had to make like a block. So I made a block, and then I had this random block just floating around my craft room for a while, and I was like, you know what, I'll just turn it into a zipper pouch. So I turned it into a zipper pouch, and I did this match stick quilting all over it. So these lines are probably like, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, the little squares wide. And then I just threw on this little wooden bead zipper pull with some jute twine. And I've just had this chilling and floating around my sewing room for a while. And I was like, you know what? It's small. I can throw a small project in here. So now I'm using it. Not a traditional project bag, but who cares? It serves the same purpose. Okay, this one I am quite excited about. This is a recent start as well. This is Baby It's Cold Outside by a Heartstring Samplery. I'm sure you've seen this. Lots of people have done it. Lots of people are doing it. Again, pulled my own fabric and thread. Let's see if I can pull it out here. Oh man. I did have in my bag, I had a paper that told me, darn, the fabric. Bummer. I want to say it's, oh, okay. It's on my lap. Jesus. Okay, this one is 36 count Prairie Land. I want to say that's R&R. Do not quote me. But this is what I have so far. So it's not actually as big as I thought it was going to be. So this is the whole height of the piece right here. And I started across here, and then I wanted to get some of the words in, so I started up there. And then for my threads, I'm actually doing this in all silks. Fancy. So we have Tulip by Belle Soie, Dark Chocolate by Fiberlicious, Woods Witch by Fiberlicious, Aussie Gold by Dinky Dyes, Blushing Linen by Fiberlicious, and Coffees and Cream by Threadworks. Okay, well, the Threadworks is just a cotton, but all the rest of it's silk. So there we go. It doesn't quite pick it up on camera, but the Fiberlicious silks have beautiful variegation in them. Very beautiful, especially the forest green. I just have a sweet spot for like foresty, olivey greens. Green's my favorite color, so maybe that's part of it. This next WIP is another one of my own designs. This one is called Bouquet, and I'm stitching this on a 32 count Lugana called Ghoul Away by Laris Fabrics. Here's the tag. And it's a beautifully variegated mottled purple. And hopefully you can tell why I've titled it Bouquet. So isn't it so cute? Look at all the little ghosties. So all I have to do for this is just, there's a design in the vase down here, so I just have to stitch the design and then I'll be done. And these are, oops. The pretty flosses that I'm using. So we got a white, a black, a charcoal, and looky there, an olivey forest green. I'm telling you, it's my sweet spot. And then my last WIP here. I haven't worked on this in a while, but I started it, you know what? I started this right after market because this was a market release by RATM, and it's called From Toledo to Toledo, and it's a sampler. So when I used to live in Michigan, my local needlework shop is actually owned by Ari and her daughter. And so I got to see this in person, and it is stunning, 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 stunning. I totally get what people mean when they say they saw the stitched piece or the model in a store and then they immediately had to buy the pattern. This is just amazing. And Ari picked such good colors. Blues and greens and navies, and it's truly beautiful. She stitched it on a 28 count Laris fabric. I forget which color, but it's in that pattern, but it's really big. And it also comes with this drum pattern down here. So she's got the initial up there and then the band that goes around it. And I am stitching this for our master bedroom. And since we live on the coast now near the beach, I'm going with like a taupey, light blue, oceany beach kind of color scheme. So I've chosen my own colors only because I want it to match my bedroom. Otherwise, I know I mentioned before I like to choose my own fabrics and my own colors. If I wasn't trying to fit the color scheme in my master bedroom, I absolutely would have stuck with her colors because they're phenomenal. In fact, this color right here, I loved so much. And it works with the blues and the taupes that I kept it, and it's stunning. So you're gonna have to just excuse the wrinkles. Oh, hold on. It's all bound up here, so give me a second. I'm gonna unwind it. I did not want mine to be very, very large. So let me see if it says, sorry for the crinkle. Let me see if it just says on the back how large it would be. It doesn't say how large the stitching is. The piece itself is 205 by 261. So, but I'm doing mine 1/1 on 25 count. Love 25 count, love 1/1. This is some kind of, I want to say it's maybe like Parchment by Lori Holt. Does that sound right? All you Lori Holt fans out there? I don't know. But it's beautiful. It's like a creamy color and it's got flecks of brown in it. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, here is my progress. So I've got the whole top band done. And I started working down the side. So I'll take this all the way to the bottom and then I'll come back up and do the next band. But isn't it just beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. And I love the repetition of the pattern, but it's not such a simple pattern that you get bored of it. And then once you finish the band, the next one's a new design, a new pattern to follow. And so in here, obviously she has an A for Ari in the middle, but it comes with the complete alphabet. So you just switch it out for your first initial or your last initial. So I'm going to do a J for our last name since it's going to go in our bedroom. So yeah, here, let me show you my threads I've pulled. They're actually like all organized on a ring and everything. So we have Almond Latte by Color and Cotton, Havana by Weeks, Betty Bluebell by Classic Colorworks, Arctic by Color and Cotton. You can see the variegation of that one. Tropical Ocean by Gentle Arts, Cottage Blue by Gentle Arts, and this is the one that Ari used in hers that I kept. It goes from a light sky blue to like a taupey gray. It's just stunning. It's so beautiful. And then Eucalyptus by Color and Cotton. So here's what they look like on the fabric. But I love this piece. Love, love, love it. So once Jolly July is over and I'm done Christmas stitching, I'm going to pull this back out. So that brings up my next point. My Stitchy friends in Michigan, excuse me. At one point we talked about doing Ari August and just supporting Ari and stitching her designs. And I'll have to talk with them again about it, but I definitely want to do it. It gives me an excuse to pull this out again, kind of makes it like my goal to pull this out again. And I'm excited to pull it out and get working on it. So I'm going to do a Sal and I'm going to call it Ari August, hashtag Ari August Sal, and I'll put it here. And all it is you stitch any pattern by Ari, Quaker Fantasies. I've got a couple of her designs here. If you love Quakers, you really, really, really need to check out Ari's patterns. I'll link to her website in the description box below as well. She does Quakers. She does like fairy tales. So if you have an intersection of fairy tales and Quakers, like both of those apply to you, love fairy tales, you love Quakers, you absolutely have got to see Ari's designs if you haven't already. So I have a couple here. I'll show you. The first one is Grumpy Winter. She also loves gnomes, and she has the Gobbleton Couple series. A cute little guy. And then I went to her retreat in 2023 because it was literally like a mile from my house. It was amazing. Stitching in the Mitten. So this was an exclusive, and I do not believe she's releasing this one, so if you're a Michigander, I apologize. ABC Christmas, Quaker style. And it's kind of hard to see here, but the gold, you can see this, the bits of gold, that is actually an alphabet. So it goes all the way across. And then on the back here, I don't have this chart, but it's on my wish list. It's the Halloween ABC Quaker style. And there's like all these cute little motifs in there as well. There's a little black cat, some ghosts kind of coming out of a house, a jack-o'-lantern, a little potions bottle, skulls, pumpkins, leaves. So it's very cute, very cute. And then the other one, this one I've had for quite a while. Again, saw the models stitched in the store, fell in love, and I just haven't started it. So maybe I'll start these because these are small. This is Patriotic Hearts. And they're 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if there's 6. That's what the photos, I'm assuming probably, because that's what the photo has on it. But let me just check real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 6 of them. So, of course, I'll pull my own colors, because Ari did these in DMC. But this is another really good option too, especially if here in Texas, August is absolutely still part of summer. I know 4th of July has passed, but Labor Day is coming up too. So eventually when I have all my like patriotic pieces finished, or more patriotic pieces stitched and finished, I plan on having patriotic up from Memorial Day through Labor Day. So this would be a good thing to stitch on for the Ari August Sal. So those are all the pieces, the charts that I have from Ari. Oops. And hold on 1 second because I have one more WIP I started for Jolly July that I forgot to grab. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So this last piece I started because of Jolly July and because I want to do that 12 Christmas ornaments in 2024, and I'm woefully behind. So I had this in my stash and I wanted to start it. So this is Advent Season Ornament Set by Heartstring Samplery. And I actually inspired my sister to purchase this. She purchased the pattern and the called for fabric, which is 36 Count Dusk by Fiber on a Whim. And she has started it as well. So this is just a fabric I had in my stash. This is Celia by Laura's Fabrics. I'm totally mispronouncing that. But this is a 28 count. So initially I was planning on stitching each ornament, you know, as charted. So I started with this one in the middle that has the ornaments in it, and then it says love at the bottom. You can't quite see the whole design there because there's more to this ornament, but it's tucked behind the other finished piece. But because it's this 28 count, it's obviously going to be larger than the 36 count. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't like my ornaments to be too big, so I'm adjusting these and just stitching pieces here and there. So I started with the ornament one. I stitched this ornament and this one and the 2 branches, and I actually started stitching this piece down here, but then I was like, you know what, it was going to be probably like all the way down here, and that's like 6 inches tall, and that's too big for me for a Christmas tree ornament. So I stopped it there. And since the other one does say love, what I think I might do is for another ornament restitch these 2 branches, so that would be the top, and then have the love ornament come down here. So then I started on the next one, and the next one I chose was the peace. So the 2 birds with the peace banner in the middle. And so what I think I'm going to stitch is just the top bird and the peace banner. I'm not sure about the tree and the 2 little stars up there. We'll see how big. I left room for it, but I'm going to see how big it is with the bird and the peace banner, and then I'll decide. But you'll have to excuse my thread. Here's the bird so far. You can see its little beak is open, so the banner, there's some holly over here, and then the banner swoops in through his beak. And let me show you the colors I pulled, because obviously I pulled my own colors. I love collecting fancy floss, and I love collecting it from kind of lesser known dyers that you would find on Etsy. So I have one of those in here. This first one, my white, is Chantilly lace from Color and Cotton. I tried to keep with the theme, like, feel of the colors. So she used a red, a white, and then it kind of looks like an olivey green. So this one is Guacamole by Weeks. And then this last one is from a dyer I found on Etsy, and I also follow them on Instagram, Pirate and Robin. This color is called Pomegranate. So, and one of the things I love about their floss is it comes in 10-yard skeins. So a little bit more for your money. But those are my colors. I'm really enjoying this. This is another stitched project that I bring to work. Okay, now we are going to move on to the sewing and the quilting aspect of this video. So if that's not your thing, I will see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at The Gem Stitchery, and I will see you next time. Okay, if you're sticking around for the quilting and the sewing, here we go. First, I'm going to start off with some project bags I've made. So these will be listed in, right now they're on Instagram. So I'll probably keep them on Instagram for like a week and then move them into my Etsy shop. But I have these little bumblebees with the golden yellow lining. And honestly, I think my favorite part of all my project bags are my zippers, because they look like metal, but they're not actually metal. The pull is metal, but it just feels like nice, high quality zipper. I love those zippers. This is another one, and I just thought the pinky coral of this design matched really well with the flowers. This fabric I love, 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 love. I'm definitely keeping some of this in my stash for me for a project. I might keep a project bag I make with it. So just the pink matches the pink of the flowers and the strawberries. Then I have another one. So this one has the gold zipper, and this one has the silver zipper. The silver zipper has like a patchwork lining. So I have a blue, a pink, and then some more of the focal print fabric. And this next one is for all the chicken lovers out there. And some sunflowers with some golden yellow inside. And then this one, okay, no, I knew it was gonna blow it out. Okay, so this is a bumblebee fabric, and oh man, such a bummer. This top is a speckled fabric, and it so absolutely perfectly matches these pink flowers. I mean, beautiful. I am not a bee person, but I love this bag and the colors. And then inside, I did the corally pink triangles, and then this part has just like a solid salmony pink fabric. So those are my project bags. I bought a bunch of fabric yesterday to make more. I love making them. I love the feel. These are a little thicker. They're not so flopsy and flimsy. And then, like I said, they have the metal looking zipper, and then I put my little tag there. And the thought was that you could use that as a zipper pull. So if you're interested, check out my Instagram. Okay, for sewing, I finally got like a quilty sewing bug back. So I did those bags, and then I'm working on a Halloween quilt. So this Halloween quilt was essentially kitted up, like we kit up across this project. I had the pattern, I had the fabric, they were destined to go together, hadn't actually started the quilt yet. So I cut it all out, and that's the whole thing. If you're a quilter, I would say, I feel like 90% of us hate quilts or hate cutting, and then the other 10% love it. I am in the camp 90% hate cutting. So I got it all cut out. And then I finally started to sew together some of the blocks. So this, oh, I forgot what it's called. I want to say the pattern is called Halloween Haberdashery. That could be wrong. Here's the name of the quilt pattern and the designer. If you're a quilter, I'm sure you've seen this floating around. But it's basically a bunch of little witch hats with some little pumpkin blocks and then some regular plain fabric squares interspersed throughout it. So here are my blocks so far. Oh, this is another one the same. And this is all the same fabric line as well. Normally I do scrappy quilts and I just kind of buy some here and there from different designers, different lines, whatever I like. But I absolutely loved this. The feel of this, how it's kind of like grungy, antique-y newsprint style. So kept with it. If you don't like mice, this might not be the fabric line for you if they freak you out. And then we get to some beautiful oranges. Some fat cats. I like this one, the stripes. Every time, without fail, anytime I see black and white stripes, I always think like referee, umpire, football, that thing. And then here's the last one I have. So I'm gonna make this like a lap quilt, a throw quilt, and I like mine kind of on the bigger side because I want from my toes all the way up to my neck if I'm really cold covered. So I like mine bigger, and my husband's like 6'2", so if he's gonna use it, it's gotta be big enough for him to use as well. And then my girls are always wanting to sit on my lap and snuggle, and so it's gotta fit over the three of us. So anyway, larger quilts. So I have those blocks done, quite a few more to make. I haven't made any of the pumpkin ones yet. Okay, next up. So these two I am very proud of. Again, if you're a quilter, or even if you're a cross stitcher, you've probably seen this sewed together bag floating around. People use it as like a stitchy bag. If you do English paper piecing or EPP, you've seen people work on hexies. They might use this kind of bag, or you might use this kind of bag. So I finally made my own, and this is the Sew Together bag by Sew Demented. So I will say, this is the first time I've made it, and I definitely learned some things along the way. Like, number one, figure out which part of the panel is the top and which part is the side, because I was under the impression that the long piece would be the top and the short side would be the side, and I was mistaken. So I was hoping for the whole rainbow portion here, you know, to be like the front of the bag, and then this to be the other side of the bag, and that's not how it worked out. And I am honestly bummed, but I realized it before I finished stitching it all together. So if I really wanted to, I could have gone back and seam ripped, but it would have meant ripping all of these pieces, and they're quilted down. So they're quilting and the actual sewing onto the batting. And there's no way. If you followed me, you know I don't frog and cross stitch, and I do my absolute best not to rip in quilting unless it's necessary, and this was not necessary. So it ended up like this. So I get to look at all the reds and the oranges, which are not my favorite. The blues and the greens are my favorite, and you're never going to see the blues and the greens because they're on the bottom. But I'll let you appreciate the selvage. So these are all selvages, mainly from Cotton and Steel, Ruby Star Society, and Heather Ross. This one I love, Maisie's Wonderland, because it's got the little veggies right there, and they're so cute. This Let the Sunshine In is a selvage from a fabric I used in my oldest daughter's quilt. Heather Ross. Kinder. I love this fabric line by Heather Ross. I used to teach kindergarten. This Panorama, these fabrics I used in both of my nephew's quilts, and I still am hoarding some. This one, I don't know if I've used this or not, but this exact same fabric also came in like a khaki taupe colorway, and I made my oldest daughter's, I made her a little romper in this taupe fabric for her 12-month photos, her birthday photos for her first birthday, and so that's really sentimental. And then this one and this one are Ruby Star Society. And then there's my tag. So, you know, reading to figure out which part was the top and the side would have been helpful as well, because now the back of the bag is upside down in terms of the wording, right? So lots learned, but I'm super happy with it. It's very full, as you can see. I love my black and white stripy binding. I used one of my metal looking zippers again. So let me show you what's inside my bag, because it's so full. So a long time ago, I started an English paper piecing quilt with hexies. Like, I think they were 3/4 inch hexies. And I was going to do a rainbow quilt. So I had all these fabrics that, you know, were gifted to me, or people didn't want, or they were scraps, offcuts from quilts and whatever. So like a huge bag full. Separate them all by color. I had these little plastic containers. I had all my red fabrics in a container, and orange and yellow, yada yada yada. And I got to stitching them, and I've stitched them, and I had like probably the full width of the quilt in reds, like 1 or 2 rows of the reds. And I was like, this is not for me. I worked on that thing off and on for a couple years, and all I had to show for it was like 2 rows of hexies that were like 2 inches, you know, deep, wide. And so I was like, no, but I like the hand stitching, and sometimes I want to do something other than cross stitch. So I was like, I really need to figure out something to do with English paper piecing. So for my baby shower with my first, well, I only had a baby shower with my first. So my mother-in-law threw one for me in Michigan. My sister, my mom threw one for me in Louisiana. But in Michigan, my mother-in-law bought this little charm pack of fabrics, and she had people like write messages to me and the baby on them. And then she gave me the leftovers as well. And I've always had this pack of charm squares, sitting in my stash. And they're like Kona solids and kind of pastel-y, so very beautiful. And I finally pulled them out. I cut them up into 2.5 inch squares, and I'm using those to make a quilt. So I'm just going to show you the inside of, not a quilt, a panel for a bag. So I'm going to show you the inside here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to stuff them all in one little zipper pocket so you can get the full gradient here, because it is absolutely beautiful. And I took the time to place them in a gradient. Okay, so we're going to try to do this without anything falling out of the bag. But here they are. You can see I have all my little wonder clips on. I'm holding them together. Okay, so the goal is lay those out, get them stitched together here and there over time, and use it as some kind of panel for a bag. And when I do that, I will definitely show you. So besides that, let me take out the couple I stuffed in there so I can actually zip it now, since you've seen what's in that pocket. Okay, let me actually go ahead and zip all these. So this is what the inside of the bag looks like. So there's 3 zipper pockets here, and then there's openings between the pockets, whoops, and then there's an opening on either end as well. So in here, since I was doing this, or I am doing this EPP project, I have the rest of the charm squares. These are all like the taupey linen neutrals. So I'm not including these in this particular project because I want it to be, you know, bright and happy, but I'm definitely going to keep these for a future project. Could potentially be another panel or piece of a bag, because they're neutrals, and neutrals go with everything. I have some of the blue clips. These are numbered, actually. Let's see if you can tell. These are part of the Stitch Supply Co. Advent Calendar last year. Yep, see, it says 23. So I have those in there to help hold the hexes together. Then I have this little tin. This was part of the advent calendar as well. And it came with some little mints, but took those out. In here I have my 2 thimbles. And then I have these tiny little scissors. I have you know, one of those rubber doohickey things we use in cross stitch. But it's just randomly in here, so I'm using it as a needle minder. And then I also had all my hexes in here when they were just papers. And let me tell you, I planned that perfectly with the hexes, because I just printed out a random number of pages, cut them out, and I have exactly 1 left. So I couldn't have done that better had I tried. Okay, so this is my little like sewing notions tin. So this lives in the bag. Then I have glue sticks. So when I did attempted my EPP quilt years ago, I thread basted everything. And I went back and forth, should I thread baste or glue based? Because since this will be a panel in a bag, it will not be washed. But ultimately I ended up going with glue basting because it was faster, honestly. And so I've got 2 glue sticks. I tried to find the clear glue. This is the disappearing purple. I looked at Walmart and Target and I could not find it, at least not in stores and mine. You know, but it dries clear, so whatever. Use that. This was also from the Stitch Supply advent calendar this past year. This is some thread gloss. It's called Sugar Cone by Your Robot Mom Sews. And I know you can't smell it, but it smells really good. And then I'm also using this as double duty for some binding I'm doing on a Christmas quilt. And I'll put some pictures here because I forgot to grab it. I actually quilted it during this 8-day stretch I had off. I did very simple machine quilting. I used some gold thread, which I really, really like. I had the whole quilt made and basted probably like a year ago in Michigan. And it's just traveled down. I spray basted. It was all stuck together really, really well. So I just machine quilted it. And now I'm doing the hand binding. I do the big stitch binding on the back, or I machine bind it. I've never done like the traditional invisible stitches for machine or for hand binding. I just don't have the patience. And I like the look of the big stitch binding. So I'm doing the big stitch binding on this one. So in here I have the olive green thread I'm using. And then I use the same needle. So I think that's everything. Let's see. Oh no. Okay. So in my middle zipper pocket is kind of more like notion. So I got a pack of needles here, some thread when I was considering thread basting, a little needle threader, and then this was also part of the Stitch Supply Co. advent calendar last year. These are teeny tiny little Kohana scissors that came in this adorable little leather protector. So perfect for snipping thread. And teeny tiny, and they don't take up a lot of space. So just a little side note, the Stitch Supply Company advent calendar is on sale now. It's like $1.99. It comes out to $2.15 with shipping. So it's pricey, but it is absolutely worth it in my opinion. If you are a quilter. If you're like a quilter and a stitcher, then you can use like everything in this advent calendar. I actually went ahead and ordered mine for this year, so that's my Christmas present for my husband last year and this year. And I'm very excited to see what shows up in there. And then this last pocket just had the extra hexes that didn't fit in the front pocket. So that is everything in my sew together bag. And it's awesome because the strap, the zipper kind of doubles as a strap, as a handle. You grab it and go. It's awesome. Bring this to work as well. So I love it. I'm so proud of it. And I'm actually thinking about making some of these and selling them. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. Would you like them to be like stitching related themed fabric? Do you like the brighter like Ruby Star, Heather Ross, that kind of thing? more modern fabrics? Do you like traditional Civil War reproductions, Joe Morton kind of thing? Lori Holt? What do you like? And then what would you honestly pay for something like this? Because I know the value and what someone would actually pay can be fairly wide, a wide big difference when it comes to like handmade quilty things. That's why I pretty much stick to only project bags, selling those because they're worth my time. So what would you pay for this? I don't know, just some market research. Okay, and then the last thing, this one I finished on Monday night and I love it. I have 2 trips coming up in September. One, I'm going to a quilting retreat for 4 or 5 days. And then like immediately after that, my husband and I are going to the Pacific Northwest for a week for our anniversary trip for 10 years. So once I figured out I could go to the sewing retreat, in my mind, I'm like, well, of course I need all the handmade bags, right? So this is coming with me. My cross-stitch project bags I've made are coming with me. If you've seen my videos before, I have like a rainbow all the things tote. That's coming with me. And then this bag is coming with me. So this is the Oxbow tote in the overnight size by Noodlehead Patterns. So this is the front. This is just a slip pocket here. Some people have put like snaps or little magnetic clasps, but I didn't want to. It's very deep. Woo! And it's got a strap so you can carry it over your body. And this, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got like a shimmery gold chevron pattern to it. And then these handles and strapping, this is just some kind of like fake pleather I've had in my stash for years, like 7 years, left over from a backpack I made by Noodlehead. And I was like, you know what? It's gonna go perfect with my fabric. And I posted this on a couple of groups on Facebook, and a lot of people have commented that they love this green fabric and they want us to know what it is. Yo, this is some cheapo linen from Hobby Lobby. It's $8 a yard, and this week, the week of July 17th, all the fabric is 40% off, so it's like $5 a yard. Like, and all I got was a yard. So if you're interested, go buy it. This also came from Hobby Lobby. This is kind of like a distressed, folded up looking khaki color. So here's the back. So this is a luggage sleeve I added. So when my husband and I are on our trip, we need luggage. You just slip this over and it sits on top of your suitcase, and then you can just, you know, roll it so you don't have to carry this and the suitcase. And then on the top here is another one of my metal looking zippers. My little zipper tab I did with the fake pleather as well. And then inside, if you're a quilter, you might be familiar with Carrie Bloomston. She's one of my favorite designers for quilt fabric. So I had this newsprint fabric. I must have bought, oh, you know what? I bought some yardage of wide back. So I've had tons of leftover. And I was like, you know what? This kind of goes with the same feel of the rest of the bag. Like sort of classy, sort of like muted neutrals. And so the pattern comes with these 2 like slip pockets right here. And then I added in this welted zipper pocket, and it's very nice if I do say so myself. I've tried a welted zipper pocket once before and it was a complete disaster, so I was very happy with the way this turned out. And then I just used some more of this green linen-y color fabric on the inside. And so that's my bag. I love it. I'm so proud of it. It is massive. It's huge. It lives up to the name, the overnight tote. The pattern also comes with like a regular tote style and size, so I will definitely be making that in the future. But yeah, if you've never tried a Noodlehead pattern before and you're interested in bag making, I would 1000% recommend her patterns. There are a lot of people out there that make bag patterns, and I've made some from quite a few different designers, but hers are consistently well written. They come with video tutorials. I don't think all of them, but a lot of them do. This one did. So what I did for this one, because I really didn't want to mess this up, is I didn't even look at the pattern except to buy like the correct amount of materials. I went in the living room, I put the video on, the tutorial, I would play one step, pause it, run in the sewing room, do the step, then go back, look at the next step, go in the sewing room, do the next step, back and forth, back and forth. So the bag took me literally all day to do. That's all I worked on Monday, you know, in addition to being a mom. But yeah, so it took a while, but the next one shouldn't take nearly as long. One, it's smaller, but two, I've done it once, so there's a little bit more familiarity there. So I love it. I'm so proud of it. I love the texture. It's awesome. Love it. Okay, if you've stuck with me this long, thank you so much. That is all I have to share with you. I hope to be back in about 2 or 3 weeks with some more updates, a wrap up on my Jolly July stitching, any other sewing or quilting I've done. If you are going to join me in the Ari August sale, please comment below. Follow me on Instagram at the Gem Stitchery. Let me know what you're stitching. If you made it through the whole video, let me know that. What'd you work on? Did you just enjoy a beverage, sit back and relax? Were you stitching on something? Let me know. Okay, guys, if you like my vibe, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you later. Happy stitching. Bye.